Where are we? It's a Tuesday here, 7th of September. Been a while since I've done any serious vlogging, though I still write regularly. I gotta keep writing. But what we're doing is we're moving right along with the 61, and that is got about as much as I can do to it done. So we've got a date. I'll keep doing some fine tuning and polishing, but I've got a date to take it to get its final sort of steps done. So I've got a guy that, my buddy Neil, that will resto mod the electrics, and he's got a guy that does painting and body work, so we'll get that done. But what I wanted to do, and I want to keep this timely, I was thinking just on the weekends, here in Australia, we've had a Father's Day. And Father's Days are always cool, and we always think of our dads. But somewhere in the process of all of this, I had somebody ask me, where did you learn to use these tools? Where did you learn, if you will, mechanical skills? So I'm not a mechanic. I don't claim to be a mechanic, but I have decent skills. I have worked as sort of like oil change lube mechanics, and I've done what we called Midnight Auto Supply years ago in Iowa. You got to think about that and then come back and we'll talk about it. It's a whole different category in the story. It's an interesting one, Midnight Auto Supply. But here, somebody was saying, where'd you learn this? Did you learn it from your dad? Really, my introduction to internal combustion engines and the use of tools and all that stuff happened probably about 1968. I'm going to say it's October 68. So about, what's that, 52 years ago? Something like that. Yeah. And I was 11 or 12. And it was getting winter in the United States. And in the back where we live, we had a big old house with a decent sized property. The back had been what used to be a carriage house. The house was 125 years old or so. And back in that, which was a big ass garage, storeroom, shed thing, kept a big dog there. My father's St. Bernard was there. But that you think an old 52 Pontiac, which was a really cool car, which today would be worth restoring, was in there, and a bunch of other stuff. And tools that had been my grandfather's, not my father's. My father's tools were up front more. But it was the end of the year, it's gonna snow. My father had two Briggs & Stratton flat deck push lawnmowers, pull string, blade goes, away you go, direct drive sort of things. So it's done for the year. The grass isn't going to grow. We're raking leaves and burning and doing stuff. It's Halloween. It was in Halloween era. I went back into the garage every night after school, and nobody argued with me. And I took those two machines completely apart. Now I started one with an orange deck. I think it was the newer one, the bigger engine. But I do remember it was orange. And I took every nut and bolt and key and pin that was on that machine. In my mind, I don't recall a fastener, a nut or a bolt that I couldn't get undone. And I took it, and somewhere there next to that old Pontiac, well, actually, I don't think the Pontiac was in there then. I'm getting ahead of myself. Pontiac wasn't there, and then that came later. But in that shed was a wooden crate of some nature, packing crate. And every piece I took off of this green flatbed Briggs & Stratton engine lawnmower, I just threw in there. I mean, I'm taking it apart, I'm not putting it back together. So I get done with that. The other one, so that was the orange one. The other one was a light green, a metallic green. Same white Briggs & Stratton, a little bit smaller if I remember right. And same thing, every piece I could take off, I took off. So that lasted a bit of time. Every day after school, I'd go back there, I'd sit by myself, and I'd take these things apart until it was getting dark and getting cold. And something changed. Either it got too cold for me to, or I got done with all those things and I went somewhere else. But I left these two flatbeds without wheels, two handles propped up against the side, wooden crate with pieces of two single cylinder lawnmowers in one crate. So, moving right ahead, winter ends, we go on. It's springtime, and my father, I'm talking about this because of Father's Day. But my father was many things. He was very, very, very intelligent. He read people very well. But he also had a short burning fuse that the Germans have. The Germans are always smoldering. They don't go bang often, but they smolder a lot. There's always something underlying. My father did have a rather volatile temper. Not that it went off a lot, but when it went off, it wasn't pretty. So anyway, it's a spring day. My father is not working, or maybe it's a Saturday. I remember being there. And he's gonna mow his lawn, and this makes him feel good. He was a great gardener. He loved his gardening. He loved taking care of the outdoors, the flowers, the grass and stuff. He was very good at that. So he's gonna get his lawnmowers out and mow the lawn, and I'm out there, I'm with him. And we go in, and he hasn't been back there all winter. And if he hasn't paid attention to what was around him. So, but the doors were, if I remember correctly, they were like a folding sliding door. So the two pieces slide and moved over. And we kicked that door open, and he's looking for his lawnmowers, and he sees them, and he starts a shaking. Like, what the hell is going on? And he verbally, he never swore. He wasn't one to use foul language. And he just trembling, and he's yelling, "What happened?" And I went, well, I took them apart and put them in that box. Well, right away the belt come out. I got a bit of a height. I thought I was kind of proud of what I'd done, but I was always a dumb kid in that. I did shit that I thought was really cool that nobody else saw. I mean, like they say, Daddy wasn't impressed, and he wasn't. Now, the punchline to the story is, in our town, Independence, Iowa, the small motor repair shop on the south side of town was the old man Bagby. And we all went, I mean, small town, everybody knows everybody. You're either Catholic or you're Protestant. There were some Lutherans and there were some Episcopalians, but you were either Catholic or Protestant, really. Public school, Catholic school. The Bagbys went to church with us, knew him really well. So my father hauls in to old man Joe Bagby this packing crate, two flatbeds, two handles. And the old man's disappointed already. He was gonna mow his lawn and stuff, and definitely got stymied by that. But old man Bagby did his magic, and my father got one lawnmower back. He didn't get two lawnmowers. So out of that basket case, there were enough parts to make one working, running lawnmower again. So that's my Father's Day story. And that's also my story is how I got involved. That was my first mechanical enterprise undertaking. You know, I got it in my head. I'm gonna take these engines. I think I started with one and it was just so fucking cool. I went on to the other one. And I had no thoughts of consequences. You know, it didn't dawn on me that I had just totally destroyed these two usable working machines. And that, you know, there was every expectation in my father's head that when he opened those doors in springtime and whatever it was, April or May, that he'd get to pull his lawnmowers out and clean them up and change the oil and go and mow his lawn. Well, that didn't happen. I got a hiding instead. So, happy Father's Day to all the fathers. And that's how I became a non-mechanic. Life's good.